My name is Jordan Hammond. I live in California. I've been staying with Cohere for 3 weeks over the last 2 months or so, and we'll be staying for another 3 more weeks.
Did you intentionally plan to stay with Cohere this long?
I left it open, so I wasn't exactly sure. I was deciding depending on how it felt, and that decision was to stay longer. I've met a lot of really interesting people, a lot of inspiring people, a lot of folks that have different skill sets and different ways of perceiving the world that I really admired and I really appreciated. I wanted to be around it more. I'm also too trying to develop similar types of communities in different places, and I think that Cohere has done it really, really well. And so I just came here to absorb more lessons and to be a part of it, and to potentially be more of a part of it into the future too. So.
You've lived in other co-living communities before this?
Yeah, probably about half of my adult life I've lived in different ones.
Wow.
So.
And how would you compare Cohere's co-living experience to your past co-living experiences?
Well, I think that one of the exciting things about Cohere is that there's fundamentally a different model underneath it that has the potential to expand and I think positively impact a lot more people from not only a personal level but also practical and financial dynamics, systemic dynamics that I think is exciting to me. After a lifetime of being in different ones, I see that as being more the solution towards the future. So those systemic things were the exciting things to me. Yeah, I think Cohere has started from the beginning as a attempt to get people an opportunity to have partial ownership of properties that they're invested in succeeding. Mm-hmm. And I think having that model in from the very beginning really gives an opportunity to have a reciprocal relationship with an organization.
From your time with Cohere, can you elaborate on a moment or a story you would like to share that really touched you in some way or moved you?
I've had a couple of different ones, so there's a few that come to mind, just around some personal growth and also too some essential business advice as well too for the stuff that I'm working on. So I guess that the one that comes to mind is that an issue that I was facing in the development of my intentional community. Mm-hmm. I had some questions around that, and there was a workshop that was being hosted here as part of the Cohere community, and I sat in on it, and it ended up being very impactful. The dynamics of solution and the solutions that were being brought up, and basically conflict to creation type of mindset, and then some of the things that I was working on turned into the example for the workshop. And I got so much good feedback from a group, like a mind, that all had similar intentions and that were all smart and sharp and cared from their own perspective. And it was just something that was so valuable. It was just a little email that I got afterwards that, people were typing notes during the workshop. And it was very helpful, and I was able to turn that into some of the solutions and the boundaries and the dynamics that we're going to be building into our company moving forward. And so that was just really cool to be kind of have a lot of mental space that I'm back and forth trying to figure out this problem, and then basically getting it 80% solved. You know what I mean? And just a workshop and conversation. So
how would you describe the support and the co-creation that is happening in Cohere and in the Cohere community?
Yeah, I haven't experienced any that is like this, but I think that I've experienced parts of it in different areas, or most of the pieces of it in different areas. So I haven't experienced it all at once, but in terms of there being a pathway for folks that are more on a spiritual growth pursuit, that is here. Mm-hmm. Also too, I see part of my entrepreneurial journey as being somewhat related to my personal development and could be called spiritual development. and I see that as being a path here. And there's also folks that are more focused on the professional dynamic of what it is they want to create, but it's also very orbital around sustainability and positive intention to the wider community. And I see people coming at that from different directions, but there's sort of that unbroken core to it that I see is just everybody here really does have those same kind of intentions, and that's something that I really appreciate, that there's just something here that does feel a little bit more beyond just like one, somebody just being out for themselves, and it feels like everybody's kind of coming from a higher place on that, like trying to give back in some way, which is cool. It's inspiring. Everyone has a different way to do that.
What does coherence mean to you, and how was that experienced here?
Yeah, so I think that the word coherence means to me, kind of beyond its like definitional term, is also too like an experience of comfort, of safety, of clarity, through yourself and with other people and with what you want to do and what you want to create in the world. And so that's kind of how I see, that's what coherence kind of symbolizes to me. And so I've experienced that within my time here at Cohere in different ways, and I felt some personal growth, both for myself like professionally, and then earlier today there was a workshop, a breathing workshop this morning, and and I felt clearer after that. I felt some blockages moving out of the way that I think were actually hindering me from finding solutions and connections and physical experiences that I want to have, because I was sort of like stuck on the problems and it kind of like pushed them through in a way. So I felt a higher level of coherence just even earlier today through that workshop. And that's one of the things that I love about being here is there's all these different people that are bringing their own expertise. And if you're open to it and you're willing to learn from it, every single one that I've sat in on has had significant value. I would say that Cohere is a exciting international community of people that are talented, caring, compassionate, and also practical about bringing those things into the world. And it's something that I find inspiring to see that popping up all over the world, and they've been able to foster that community, and I think we'll see more and more of them in the future. The stuff that we're trying to do is similar, and that's actually what attracted me to it, as well as I was having a conversation in my kitchen of like, hey, I want to build our community and then leverage that property to purchase other properties in different parts of the world, and to facilitate cheaper rent for people, and to be able to have tools and workshops, and really create kind of I go with the 2 + 2 is 5 sort of situation, where things become more than the sum of their parts. And in terms of what that relationship could look like directly with Cohere, I mean, that stuff is still to be explored. We have a beautiful property in California, and would love to figure out if there's some kind of relation in that way. But at very least, I'm really happy to be a member and to also try to bring some of our community into this community. But it has been really cool to see that some of the stuff that we were working on that felt a little bit like doing it out on an island, all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, these folks are already doing a ton of these other pieces of it, and although we've done some more of purchasing properties, and we're on the third one and stuff like that, and it's a little bit different than Cohere. Cohere's built this massive international network and all these really cool people, and that's awesome. It's like another piece of the puzzle, and so I do feel like a kinship and a sense of like a peer in a way with the organization. And so that's cool. It's just like kind of like vindicating in some ways. So just be like, oh cool, I'm not just like some crazy person on the whatever. Like other people are crazy in the same way. So that means it's not crazy, right? So yeah, so that's kind of what it feels like. And it's really cool to see it in fruition, and yeah, it just feels good here. It just feels good. You know, the way that we've grown up to live currently, very individualized, is actually just a blip in history. That's not the way we've been throughout the vast majority of time. And although there are challenges with being so used to being in an individual world, there really is so much more opportunity in doing things together and collaboratively. And I think that that's something that, you know, people really, that is something that I really want to share. Like, I've seen it like in my own life, and I think people kind of feel it a little bit, but it is the truth, you know.
Yeah. What do you think is unique about the culture or the people that you've interacted with here in Cohere?
There's just been a different caliber or community of people that I've met here that are more connected in terms of the way that I see the world as well. You know, in terms of really wanting to try to manifest positive change and trying to take personal responsibility and to grow. And, you know, I just really see that consistency here. And you know, that's just like something that I really appreciate and really admire that they've been able to put together a group like that spans the whole world, you know. And just getting a chance to talk to anybody here has really been, it's been great, because you just kind of like dive into their world and start to see more and more of like what a special person they are, you know. And so that's been something that I've found to be really unique, just in terms of what I'm specifically looking for.